There's just over 2 months left in 2024, and I have many books I am determined to finish before the year is over. So welcome to my end of year TBR. I have 16 books I want to read. Is that reasonable to finish before the year is over? Maybe. I think so, as long as I actually stick to this, but I guess only time will tell. First up, we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is a fantasy romance book. I believe it originally came out at the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024. I've been waiting to read this until the hardcover came out because I prefer hardcover books. The paperback in this book was a little bit small and I didn't like it. So now that I have the hardcover, I really want to read this. All I know about this book is obviously that it's fantasy romance and it has dragons, and that's about it. For whatever reason, I have a feeling this is going to be 5 stars for me. I hear the writing is like very flowery, and so a lot of people either hate it or love it. I don't know, just something in my soul tells me I'm gonna love it. So this is very high on my priority list. Then we have Gild and Glint by Raven Kennedy. These are the first 2 books in the Plated Prisoner series. I heard the first book is honestly like not that good, and it starts getting better in book 2. And so I want to read both of these so I can give this series a fair shot, and then after I read these 2, I can decide if I want to continue with the series or not. The final book in this series did just come out, so if I like these first 2 books, I can just binge read the rest of the series and it will be a completed series, because I have so many series that I'm currently reading and none of them are completed, and it's so annoying finishing a book on a cliffhanger and then you can't even read the next book. And so it'll be nice to actually have a completed series to read if I do end up enjoying these. This series gets a lot of hate and a lot of praise. It's like one side or the other, but something tells me I'm going to really enjoy this series. It gets the same level of hate as the Kindred's Curse saga, and I love that series. So in my brain, logically, I'm going to like this series as well. It doesn't make totally complete coherent sense, but I am really excited to read these and I do hope I love it. And since I do already own the first 2 books, I really hope I end up loving this. Then we have The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy. I just finished the first book in the Mistborn trilogy, The Final Empire, and I love that book. And as soon as I finished the first book, I was like, I need to order the second one because I need to know where the story goes and what's going to happen next. And I really, really enjoy Brandon Sanderson's writing. I have mentioned it before, but I really want to get through the Mistborn trilogy so I can go on to the Stormlight Archives. The 5th book in the Stormlight Archives comes out soon, and so I need to do some catching up, which is going to take a while since the Stormlight Archives books are so long, but I will get there eventually, and I'm really looking forward to starting that series, but I want to finish this trilogy first. 4th, we have Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I have said that I want to read this in multiple videos now. This is the 4th book in the Red Rising saga. There are 6 books out currently. There's supposed to be 1 more coming out, I believe in 2025, but we don't know for sure. And so I absolutely loved the first trilogy. The 2nd and 3rd book were both 5-star books for me. This has quickly become my favorite series of all time as of currently, and so I'm really looking forward to starting on the 2nd trilogy because I hear the writing is even better in this, and I'm excited to see what happens next. And so I can't wait to read this. I just keep putting it off for whatever reason, but I am determined to finish this book before the year's over. Next up, we have Blood Mercy by Bella Roth. This is the first book in the Blood Grace series. I believe there is 7 or 8 books out currently. I think there's supposed to be 9 in total, and so it is a pretty long fantasy romance series. This book is supposed to have a lot of political intrigue. It's very plot heavy, which is what I love in a fantasy romance book. I love a plot heavy fantasy romance book with just a subplot of romance. I don't totally know the entire plot of this series, but I do know the mailman character is a vampire and he's supposed to be very sweet in comparison to a lot of fantasy romance books. And so I'm just very excited to read this. I have very, very high hopes for this book because of all the political intrigue and it being a plot heavy fantasy romance book. So I'm hoping I love this because I want to collect the whole series because I think these covers are so pretty and I just want to have all of them on my bookshelf. And so I'm really, really looking forward to this one. We have another fantasy romance book, Rain and Ruin by J.D. Evans. I keep seeing this get recommended to people who like epic fantasy, but they want to dabble in fantasy romance. And as I just mentioned, I love plot heavy fantasy romance books. And since this is more for epic fantasy fans, I have a feeling I'm going to absolutely love this. And I hear the main characters are fantastic in this book and throughout the entire series. I believe there are 4 books out in this series. I could be wrong, but each book focuses on a different couple and I just hear it's fantastic. This is very underrated. I believe it has less than than 5,000 ratings on Goodreads, and so I'm really excited to read this and see if it's as good as everyone is saying. Next up, we have Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is book 2 in the Farseer trilogy. I just read the first book in this series a couple months ago and I loved it. It is a little slower than I'm used to, but it is so immersive. It literally feels like you are in the story just watching everything unfold. And I don't know why, but The Realm of the Elderlings feels like a very cozy winter book, so I feel like this will be perfect for December. I'm really looking forward to continuing on my Robin Hobb journey. There is 15 more books for me to read in the Realm of the Elderlings, so I'm hoping I continue to love it and I can collect the entire series. Next up, we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a very hyped up fantasy series. I've heard a ton of good things about this. This has honestly been on like my mental TBR for a while now, but I just keep putting it off for whatever reason. And so I'm like, okay, it's finally time for me to get to this book, and there's no better time for fantasy than in the fall and winter. And so I feel like this is the perfect time of year to finally read this. There's 3 books in the series and it focuses on magical jade and there's like a clan war. Don't totally know, but I've heard incredible things, and so I'm excited to finally force myself to read this book. So we have A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. This is the first book in the Kingdom of Lies series. I believe there is 4 books in this series, and it is a fantasy romance series. I don't totally know what this book is about, but it's something about a fae makes an alliance with like a mercenary and then something something something. I picked this up after I finished the Kindred's Curse saga because that series left a hole in my heart and I was like, I need something to fill it. And I looked up on Reddit like, what should I read if I enjoyed that series? And a lot of people were recommending A Court This Cruel and Lovely for fans of Spark of the Everflame. So I picked this up upon a recommendation, and this book is not very long. It's under 400 pages, but honestly for fantasy romance, I prefer a longer, chunkier fantasy romance book. Like 600 pages plus is my jam when it comes to fantasy romance. And so this is a little bit short. I don't know if the later books get any longer. So hopefully I like this. It should be a pretty quick read, and just fingers crossed that I enjoy this so I can continue with the series. Next up, we have This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. This is a YA fantasy romance book. I've been hearing a lot of good things about this recently. I'm not a huge YA fan, but it is nice to have the occasional YA book because they are always really fast and easy to read. So they're perfect for a reading slump. And for this series, there is currently 3 books out, and then 2 more are supposed to come out for a total of 5 books. This is like a Persian-inspired fantasy romance book, and it's supposed to have a really good plot. And I think this will just be a good, easy read for when I'm feeling a little bit slumpy. We have 2 more physical books, and then there is a few releases that are coming out soon that I want to read, that I want to talk about. So up next, we have Lady of Darkness by Melissa K. Rorich. This is the first book in the Lady of Darkness series. I've been reading the Legacy series by this author, and I absolutely love it. Like, it's quickly becoming my #1 fantasy romance series of all time. And so technically, if you want to be in order, you're supposed to read this series first because the Legacy series does have some spoilers for the Lady of Darkness series. So I'm in a little bit of a backwards order, but I love Melissa K. Rorich's writing, and so I really wanted to pick this up and read this series. I'm hoping I love this as much as the Legacy series, but I hear this one is a little bit lighter than the Legacy series. The Legacy series, it's pretty dark and heavy with a lot of very morally gray characters. It's set in the same universe as the Legacy series, but it's set in a different realm. But I'm excited to read this and just connect the dots between the Legacy series and the Lady of Darkness series. And I will honestly read anything Melissa K. Rorich puts out at this point because I love her writing so much. Now we have The Blade Itself by Jo Abercrombie. This is another book that has been on like my mental TBR for a long time, but I only recently purchased it, and I have heard such good things about this. It is very character driven. I hear Jo Abercrombie is great at creating really lively characters. No one seems to really know the plot of this book, but it's supposed to be fantastic, and I'm really excited to read this. I'm hoping I love the whole First Law trilogy, and then I can read Jo Abercrombie's other books as well. So fingers crossed I enjoy this, but we will see. There are 3 new books coming out in the next 2 months that I am so excited to pick up. I want to pick them all up on release day so I can read them right away. First book is The Tempest of Wrath and Vengeance by Melissa K. Rorich. This is the 3rd and final book in the Legacy series. It comes out on October 31st, so pretty soon. And as I was saying, I am obsessed with this series. It is so good. I am so invested in this story and the characters, and I need to know how the rest of the story unfolds and if we get all the answers to the questions we have and just how the series is going to end. I am so looking forward to this 3rd book, and I really hope it lives up to my expectations. Next up, we have Throne of Secrets. This is the 2nd book after The Throne of the Fallen. This comes out on October 29th, so another book that's coming out very soon. Throne of the Fallen and Throne of Secrets are like interconnected standalone books. I honestly didn't read Throne of the Fallen, and I don't really have any interest in reading it, but for whatever reason, I want to read Throne of Secrets. I have no idea. I don't really have a logical explanation for that. It just, I don't know, Throne of Secrets sounds better. Maybe it's because there's no really reviews for Throne of Secrets yet, so I can't judge it like I've judged Throne of the Fallen, which have had very mixed reviews, and so I just haven't been inclined to pick it up. Throne of the Fallen focused on Prince of Envy, whereas Throne of Secrets is going to focus on Prince of Gluttony, which, saying that out loud, Prince of Envy actually sounds better than Prince of Gluttony. But I don't know. I don't have a logical explanation. I just, for whatever reason, I really want to read Throne of Secrets. And then if I do enjoy that, maybe I'll go back to Throne of the Fallen. So I am really looking forward to reading Throne of Secrets. I heard Throne of the Fallen was pretty spicy, so I'm assuming this book will be the same, but we will see. Lastly, we have The Songbird and Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. This is the third book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. This comes out on November 19th, and I really enjoyed the first two books, so I want to pick up the third one and see if I like it as well. The Songbird and the Heart of Stone does focus on different characters than the first two books, so I'm hoping I love it as much, but we will see. I'm curious to see if Oriah and Rain from the first two books are going to be featured in this book at all. So this is like a curiosity book for me. I'm very curious to know how I'll like this book compared to the first two. So I'm just gonna pick this up with very like neutral expectations. As long as I enjoy it, like, and I have a good time, it's a-okay with me. But, like, I don't really know what to expect. I haven't read the synopsis or anything, so I'm gonna go in pretty blind and just see how I like it. But I do really enjoy Carissa Broadbent's writing, so I have a feeling I will like it, but I just don't know if I'll like it as much as the first two books because I love those characters so much. There is a lot to live up to with this third book. And that is my end of year TBR. I'm really excited to read all of these books, and I'm really hoping I finish all of them. That is like my end of year goal. I just want to finish all of these books. But if you made it this far, leave a little heart emoji down in the comments below, any color you want. And also let me know what's on your end of year TBR, or what books are you looking forward to reading before the year is over. But thank you so much for watching and joining me for this video. I appreciate you so much. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. I love you. Bye.